Hi, Donny Dave here. This video is a recce of the Trans-European Trail, the TET. It's just a tester really, because I'm wanting to do a trip on the TET. I have done a little bit before, heading south towards Derbyshire, but that was a year or so ago. And I couldn't remember how to do the navigation and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just do a little tester trip, and it's a good job I did really, because it's not working out very well. I was a bit late getting organised. I had something to do first thing this morning, and by the time I got my gear ready and got the bike ready and what have you, it was about 11:30. I'd downloaded the track last night, and the TET won't let me download anymore. It says I've had my allowance. I don't know why that is. And I've basically picked up the TET at the nearest point to my house, which is a place called Deep Car between Barnsley and Sheffield. So it was about 3/4 of an hour run on the roads to pick up the route. And the first route that I've picked up, just a farm track, I fell off on the on the first bit. I think because I've not ridden the Honda for a while. It's a lot heavier than the KTM. I didn't have the traction control off, and I just set off straight up the first hill, and it jumped out of gear. It jumped into neutral, or I kicked it into neutral. I just lost my balance and fell to the side on the hill. So the bike felt pretty heavy to pick up, but at least I've got that out of the way. So I'm just going to see how it goes really, see how far I get on the trail, and I'm going to try a couple of my booking apps and so on to see if I can find some accommodation at wherever I decide to turn round. Again, just as a bit of a practice to see how difficult it is in reality to just say, right, I've finished for the day, what's in the area. In the UK, the school holidays have just finished last week, and it's June, early June, so in fact it's my birthday today. It's shouldn't be sort of peak season, but it'd be interesting to see what kind of availability I can find in 3 or 4 hours time. So we'll see how the ride goes. Right, so the CRF, ideal for this sort of trip really. I haven't used it very much of late. I tend to either ride my Triumph on the road or the KTM when I go off and do the Green Lane stuff with the TRF. I guess hence falling off as soon as I get on it, which is not great, but I suppose it's good practice. So problems already with navigation. My app has crashed about 4 or 5 times already, and I've only been out an hour, so that doesn't bode well. It basically just turns itself off, and I've just got to go. I've got to stop and switch the phone back on and go through, find the app, turn it on, and it's still running. It's just the phone's turned off, or the app's crashed. So I need to find out what that is. Can't be doing that every 15 minutes. Anyway, we'll press on, see how it goes. So we've arrived at a ford. This is a little bit of TET that I have done, because I think I started a bit further up, and because I've done a little bit going south. So I've come south this way, but I went over the bridge. I've gone through plenty of fords, but it's just a different ball game when you're doing it on your own. And this is very, very slippy. So I'm in two minds whether to do it or just push the bike across the bridge. I mean, if it wasn't a bridge, I guess I'd have to do it. And I think the lower of the two looks better, because if I went on the higher edge and slipped on this moss, I'd drop into the lower rut. So I don't know whether just to put my big boy pants on and just go for it. It's not mega deep, just looks really slippy. I've decided to have a go at this. It's not remote here. It's on the edge of a village, so I suppose if I do get stuck, might be somebody to help me, but just about. Yeah, it's really slippy. Yeah. Phew, relief. Slightly wet feet. Yeah, I thought I recognised that ford that I've just crossed, and I do remember that little bit of road after the ford where this trail turns off from. So I think I have done this bit. I think that ford is actually where I thought the closest point on the TET was, and I found it on the map, and I did go south from there into Derbyshire, and I did try this little bit just going north, but I seem to recall I did it in, well, not long after I bought this bike, I think. So a couple of years ago, and I didn't have any off-road experience at all, and I think I came to a fairly rocky downhill bit up here, down into the valley to the left, and I chickened out of doing it. So I know I haven't been any further north than literally this trail. And my plan for my sort of ride on the TET was to go north, because that will take me into the lakes and the dales, and certainly I'll have ridden some of the trails in the Dales area, because that's my sort of area where I ride with the local TRF. So I will know some of the trails. I just probably won't realise that they form part of the TET. At the end of the day, there's not that many trails. There's only so many that are legal, and the TET is legal trails. So I'm hoping that I'll know some of those, but it would just be nice to get up to that area instead of driving for an hour and a half up the A1. It would be nice to be able to ride up there on the back roads and the off-road trails. It's a long way around because it goes via the Lake District to come back to the Dales, but it still make a nice ride. I think this is the lane that I was thinking of earlier on. The camera has been switched off for a bit, but I think this is the lane I was thinking about. So I have been this far and then turned back. So I'm going to attempt it this time. I think I actually came halfway down the hill and turned round. But as I say, I'd not done any off-road riding at that point. And I think it was muddy and wet. It certainly wasn't dry like this. Quite big steps though. Might be quite a challenge getting up it. In many ways I prefer going up hills to going down, because if you do fall off, you tend to be, when you're going uphill, you don't have as far to fall. This is fairly washed out, is this? Yeah, I probably wouldn't have had the experience to do this when I first got the bike. Don't know of this, but it must be quite well known, because it would be a challenge. I don't know if it's frequented by the local 4x4s. I guess it would be. There's some tyre tracks on it. As usual, you won't see the elevation on the camera, but it is steep. That's good. That was actually worth coming out just to do that. And I guess that's a challenge when it's wet and slippy. And yeah, I've got to stop yet again because my navigation app, which is Osmand, has just turned itself off, and it's done that now must be 6 or 7 times, and I've only been out a few hours. So the navigation device is back on, and it looks like that lane was called Cheesegate Nab Side. Cheesegate Nab. Oh well. So we're working again now. Let's see how we get on. So this lane is called Scaly Gate. I don't know what that tower is on the top of the hill there, but that's a fair old height is that. Make a great lookout tower over these valleys. Interesting. Castle Hill is the name of the hill, surprisingly. Yeah, it's not a bad place to stop for lunch. With my co-op meal deal, and that tower right in the distance on the top of the hill there is the one that I passed earlier on. Nice little lane. I've ridden till about 4:15, and if this was for real, if you like, if I was out on a long TET trip, I'd be looking for accommodation round about now. So I was just interested to see if I was looking now, and I just go on to booking.com or something like that, which I've got the app for somewhere. Booking.com. Current location, I'll need to refresh that because I did. Current location, 2nd of June, 1 adult. Right, so New Hobbit Hotel, 66 quid, 0.7 miles away. A room for £95. The Griffin Inn, 65. See, I would personally favour pubs. So there's the Fleece Inn there, 1.3 miles away. The Griffin. But I'd want parking. So that's 65 quid near Halifax. 1.1 miles away, parking, bathroom, restaurant. See, that'd be ideal for me because I would want to get something to eat without having to get back out on the bike. And then the Fleece Inn at Barkey's Land, it's a bit dearer, 95 quid. Probably be a second choice. Shepherd's Rest, that sounds like a pub. 71. 1.6 miles away. Parking. Decent reviews. £71. So there's a few. I mean, these are cottages and stuff, 150, 200 quid, 120. I wouldn't want to pay that. The Malt House, £70, 2.5 miles away. Free parking. Yeah, so if I was stopping round about here for the night, there are a few options. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe ride on a little further, because to be honest, I don't know how long it'll take me to get back on roads, and I'm on full knobbly tyres, so I don't really want to go back. I'm not far away from the M62, but I don't really want to go back on the motorway because it just burns the tyres up, and these tyres are well on the way anyway. So I'll probably go on Beeline or Kellymoto or something like that and just plot a route that's avoiding motorways, but I really don't know how long that will take. So I might ride for another half hour or hour, see how we get on. I'm around Halifax now, in West Yorkshire. I've noticed that quite a few of these cobbled roads, these used to be fairly common up to Victorian times, I guess. You don't see many these days. There used to be some bits in Pontefract where I'm from, but you really don't see much of it. But I've noticed there's a few still around here. Quite unusual. Yeah, these sort of West Yorkshire area, certainly when you get out Halifax and round Haworth, Bronte territory, that kind of place, you get a lot of the blackened sandstone from these industrial areas. They're not the sort of dry stone walls that you get in the Dales. They're mortared together, but you do see a lot of stone walls and a lot of stone buildings, but most of them are very, very black. I don't think it's the stone itself. I think it's just years of smoke from these coal burning industrial kind of areas. I managed to hit a place called Sowerby Bridge, or Sawby Bridge as it's pronounced, in rush hour. it's kind of tea time rush hour now and it was getting a bit busy, so I decided that's the point to bail out and head back. So I've just stuck it in my sat nav to follow my beeline route planner back. So that's the end of my TET Recce. I didn't bother filming anything on the way back. It was hard going really, so I just thrashed it back on the road because it was in the rush hour. I got a decent route back, so it wasn't too bad, but I've got backache and arse ache because I've not ridden that bike for a while, so I didn't bother filming anything. So that's it for this time. Cheers.